I'm Viggling with TYT Politics. I hope everyone is having a lovely day, calm before the storm. The election's tomorrow. It feels like we've been, leading up to this for forever, and, we have these two disgusting candidates. I wanted to give you guys a polling update. I'm off my current WikiLeaks beat. Jordan actually gave you guys an update on that. Check it, the Facebook Live out. We'll also be putting it on YouTube. So Facebook, TYT Politics Facebook, that's where Jordan gave the latest WikiLeaks update. But I'm now in charge, since Jordan is back at home. I'm in charge of giving you guys the polling update. So there are a couple things that you guys should be taking away from these polls on what to expect tomorrow. So here are some of the laughable predictions. Some are normal, but some of the laughable predictions from the mainstream media. So the New York Times gives Hillary Clinton an 84% chance of victory tomorrow. Trump has a 16% chance, according to the New York Times. And they say a victory by Mr. Trump remains possible. Mrs. Clinton's chances of losing is about the same as the probability that an NFL kicker misses a 38-yard field goal. Okay, well, they seem to be missing a lot of field goals this year, so maybe you shouldn't be so sure. I don't think that's an outrageous prediction from the New York Times. 84% is a little higher than I would put it at, but I defer more to Nate Silver's prediction, which I haven't said this entire election, but he puts the forecast as Hillary Clinton having a 2-1 advantage over Trump. He has her winning, the chances of her winning the presidency at 68%, while Trump's are at 32%. I think that seems pretty much about right. He says the public polls, specifically including the highest quality public polls, show a tight race in which turnout or late deciding voters will determine the difference between a clear Clinton win, a narrow Clinton win, and Trump finding his way to 270 electoral votes. Now, I'm sorry, I shouldn't swear, but the Huffington Post is laughable with their chances. Listen to this. Their website, which is anti-Trump, thank you USA Today, is very confident Clinton will be president. The site gives Clinton a 98% chance of winning, and Trump just 2%. What world are you living in, Huffington Post? Their coverage in the general election has been laughable. 98%? Have you looked at any of the polls? He's going to win Ohio and Florida. How does that give him a 2% chance of winning? But that's the Huffington Post for you. So at least Nate Silver and the New York Times have a prediction that isn't entirely laughable. So that's for some reason what the Huffington Post is saying. The hubris of the Huffington Post and their just obsession with Hillary Clinton during the general election without really seeing many of her faults has been frustrating. They had some good articles on Bernie in the primary, but they've just been kind of up her butt, if you will, during the general election. So, polling update. Right now, Real Clear Politics has the average at 203 safe electoral votes for Hillary Clinton and 164 electoral votes for Donald Trump. There are 171 toss-ups, according to the Real Clear Politics map, which include Florida, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. These are some big states. New Hampshire, Maine, North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, Iowa. Nevada used to be leaning towards Clinton. Her lead has slipped away there. New Hampshire used to be for Clinton. Her lead has slipped away there. North Carolina used to be for Clinton. Her lead has slipped away there. And in Michigan, both Hillary Clinton and Obama are there today. Do you know what that means? She's scared about the Rust Belt. Look, we've been there. Jordan and I went there for our Disappearing Middle Class tour. We know that they don't love Hillary Clinton out there. They just don't, By the way, that map is a 4-way race between, including Dr. Jill Stein and Gary Johnson. The Real Clear Politics average that I just listed. So we know that in Michigan, they're very anti-trade, obviously, for obvious reasons. They're very anti-TPP, and Hillary Clinton has not convinced a single soul in the country that she is against the TPP when she called it the gold standard back in history. So her tepid lead there has pretty much vanished in Michigan, which was supposed to be a solid win for her. So both her and Obama are there campaigning today. Trump is going to be there later tonight. One week ago, the Real Clear Politics average for her was 47 to 40. She was up 7 points. In a week, that lead has dropped by 3 or 4 points. And she's probably has some internal polling telling her that, yeah, you need to go back to Michigan. You need to go back to Michigan. The thing about what happened with this Comey email scandal is that even though he just came out yesterday and said that they found no additional wrongdoing in their reinvestigation, people are looking for an excuse to vote for Donald Trump. No one likes her. And he keeps giving them excuses not to. He keeps giving them reasons not to because he's that incompetent. But how winnable is this election for Donald Trump? Yet the Huffington Post puts his chances at 2%. Are we going to be real here? Come on, Huffington Post. So, remember, also, in terms of Michigan, Bernie Sanders surprised Hillary Clinton, despite the fact that she was leading in polls, and he actually took Michigan from her. So, the populist manufacturing hub in Michigan cannot be underestimated. Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, despite being opposite sides of the same coin, one is a horrible human being, the other is obviously someone who I admire and is a champion for the people, but they both tap into that populism. So could there be an upset for Donald Trump in Michigan? Absolutely. I really think that that's something that you guys need to be on the lookout for. The Rust Belt states are not favorable for Hillary Clinton, and that could swing the election. Also, someone said, show me your coffee cup. I will, because I told you about my Hermione Granger coffee cup yesterday, and I brought it out today. How lovely is that? See, I need it because she's smart, and she's a woman I admire, and I think she would be a great president of the United States. Hermione Granger. Please, guys, be a better first female president than Hillary Clinton. Dear Lord. So, that's the situation in Michigan. Hold on, I wrote this down, but what I would be coining is that maybe the manufacturing, white workers, middle class, working class workers in the Rust Belt are the silent majority that Nixon coined. But it could be for this election, so people are looking again for an excuse not to vote for her, and her support is so tepid in the Midwest and in those Rust Belt states that could be the silent majority that puts him over the top in those states. Not even necessarily that he'd win the election, but we really could see those battleground states being completely lost to her. Because, once again, people are embarrassed to say they're voting for Trump. Because people want change, and they know that he's insane, and they know that he's a maniac, and they know that he's a sexist and maybe most likely sexually assaulted women. They know all those things, but they're desperate for change. And no one needs change more than those involved in manufacturing in the middle of the country. No one needs an advocate more. And so they're grasping to straws to vote for someone who I'm sure they wouldn't vote for under normal circumstances if we had a Bernie on the other side or another populist candidate on the other side. So, watch out for Michigan. But here is some good news for Hillary Clinton. Early voting has surged. And that's because the Democrats are competent this election, and the Hillary Clinton campaign is competent and actually knows what a ground game is, and Donald Trump has no idea. So, they understood that they need to mobilize their voters to get them out there to vote, and that's what's been happening. Usually the Republicans are excellent at this, but when you have a maniac at the helm and someone who's more interested in selling, rooms at 2 times the price at Mar-a-Lago, or his Trump Towers getting more rooms filled up, and personally, making himself a more wealthy man, then he's not going to be focusing on the ground game. So that's really what's happening. I will read to you guys this from CNN, a report of the Latino votes, especially has been, and the early voter turnout for Latino votes has been quite high. So the percentage of eligible Latino voters who turn out to cast ballots typically isn't as high as other demographics. But early voting in 3 key battleground states suggests that there could be a changing in the 2016 race. So far, Latino voting in Florida, extremely important. Georgia and North Carolina, also extremely important, is significantly up from 2012, according to Catalyst, a data company that works with progressive candidates and groups to receive detailed early vote return information this year. By the way, Georgia has been trending towards Hillary Clinton in a way that it hasn't for a Democratic candidate in forever, obviously. And surprisingly, her support in Georgia is not that low. So could she take Georgia? I don't think so. But it goes to show that that state is no longer deep red. They have not completely embraced Donald Trump in Georgia. So Catalyst voter lists connects return ballots with demographic and registration information such as party registration, gender, age, la-da-da-da-da. In total, more than 30 million votes have been cast already across 38 states with early voting. And both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton continue to urge their supporters to vote in as early as Election Day nears. Latinos tend to vote more Democratic than the population as a whole, and in 2012, Latinos voted for President Obama, blah, blah, blah. So, in Florida, in 2008, Latino early voters, by this time, it's up significantly. So in 2008, 260,000 Latino voters were in the early vote totals, and now it's almost 600,000. So it's more than doubled. In Georgia, same thing. So Latino votes were around 13,000 in 2008. Now it's 31,000. And in North Carolina, 21,000. Now it's 37,000. So that goes to show that there has been a great effort on the part of the Hillary Clinton campaign to mobilize those voters, and that could have an effect. So the Latino vote could potentially put her over the top because it shows that there's an enthusiasm and a great amount of coordination with her campaign in galvanizing the Latino vote and to get them out in the key states of North Carolina and Florida. Do I think Florida's going to go to Hillary Clinton? No. As of now, I do not. The polling has not shown that. But could it go for her? Yes, and that would be massive. Donald Trump needs both North Carolina and Florida to win, I believe, in terms of looking at the current demographics. So I think he's going to take Florida more easily than he will North Carolina, but we shall see. So with the Latino vote surging, that spells a clearer path to victory for Hillary Clinton than would otherwise be the case. Thirdly, Trump now has a 7-point lead in Iowa, and he's taking Ohio. It's over. Like, he's had a lead in Ohio for months, a tepid lead, but it hasn't moved. And with the polls tightening nationally, there's just he's taking Ohio. So he's going to take Iowa handily, and he's going to take Ohio, and he's closing on her in Michigan. Again, that goes back to the manufacturing hub of this country and the Rust Belt being disgusted with Hillary Clinton. So Trump is now back campaigning in Minnesota too. He says that internally his internal polling shows her only 3 points ahead of him in Minnesota. So he thinks Minnesota's winnable. So again, bringing it back to the Rust Belt states being and the Midwest of the country being a weakness for Hillary Clinton, and the manufacturing part of our country not seeing her as a viable option, Donald Trump sees a weakness there that he could potentially exploit. So Minnesota has been a blue state since 1972. And the fact that Trump's internal polling apparently shows him as 3 points behind her, what does that show? So, by the way, the Real Clear Politics average for that, we don't need to trust Donald Trump on that. Real Clear Politics averages a 6-point lead for Hillary Clinton in Minnesota. It's still not solid. Used to be solid blue. So, and also, another, one more tidbit. Could voter suppression come into play? As we know, the Supreme Court has gutted the Voting Rights Act, and the federal government apparently can only deploy, how many is it? 500 people to monitor the polling stations and guard against intimidation and disruption by a lot of usually racist white voters trying to suppress the minority vote. But that's less than they could in 2012 because the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act. So could that have an effect in the South especially and in the swing states? Yes. My mom, who is a big Hillary Clinton fan, yes, the dinner table discussions are very interesting. Definitely don't have screaming matches every other dinner about it. She's going to Pennsylvania to poll watch, so that's a thing. You know, they're undermanned in terms of the federal government in those states because of the Voting Rights Act. So I want to give you guys my thoughts. As this election comes to a close, I want to kind of have an uplifting message for you. I'm sure this isn't the time, the last time I'll talk to you before tomorrow. I'm sure I'll have another video up. But I wanted to say, no matter what the outcome is, we'll keep fighting, you know? I've been open about who I think would be, of those two realistic options, the better one. I think Donald Trump's a maniac. I think, you know, you read these articles about how easily he is manipulated by his own campaign staff. The last time we had an idiot for president, it didn't really work out that well. George W. Bush took us into a Great Recession, took us into 2 wars. Hillary Clinton's no angel. She's a warmonger herself, but, you know, Donald Trump's a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, I gotta stop swearing. Donald Trump is an idiot. And that's where I come out on it. But no matter what happens tomorrow, we will keep fighting. The issues that we care about and that Bernie's revolution brought up, they don't just go away. And no matter if we have a shill as the head of state or an orange buffoon, it doesn't matter. The issues still remain. And that's what I... Sorry guys, I got a call. But on hour 1, I want to vote. I want to fight, you know? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to fight to the end. And the issues we care about, the establishment are going to have to hear us, or they're going to have to be kicked out of office, cuz that's what we're here for. That's what TYT Politics stands for, and that's what I know you guys stand for. So, all right, guys, that is the update. Have a lovely day, and we're gonna fight. Bye.